They handed you the rule book before you even knew what success looked like. Study hard, go to college, get your degree, land a good job, work your way up, save your money, follow the plan, and everything's gonna work out just fine. There's a script that was handed to you before you ever understood what success really meant. And most people follow that script without questioning a single line of it. Here's the problem. Nobody told you what happens after you do everything right. You graduate with debt. You start working to pay off that debt. You cover rent, bills, taxes, and at the end of the month, you look at your balance and wonder, where did it all go? It doesn't feel like progress. It feels like a treadmill. You're running harder than ever, but you're not going anywhere. And what's so maddening about it? You're not lazy. You didn't blow your money. You did exactly what they told you to do. But the more you play by the rules, the more it feels like the rules were written for someone else. That frustration you've been carrying, it's got a name. And in the next few minutes, you're gonna understand exactly where it comes from. The life they sold you. Picture this. You're 22 years old, diploma in hand, $40,000 in student debt, and a head full of promises. You did everything right. You showed up. You grinded. You played the long game. And now you're sitting at a desk, collecting a paycheck that barely covers your bills, watching your dreams slowly turn into a budget spreadsheet. That's not a personal failure, that's a pattern. Millions of people across the world are living the exact same story. Different names, different cities, same ending. Work harder, earn more, spend it all just to stay afloat. The goalposts keep moving, the finish line keeps shifting, and nobody stops to ask the obvious question. What if the game itself is broken? Think about a casino. The lights are bright, the music is loud, and everyone looks like they're winning, but the house never tells you the truth. The games are rigged. The dice are loaded. No matter how smart or disciplined you play, the house always wins. You might have a good night, but the system was built for one outcome, and you're not the one it was designed to favor. Here's what they never taught you in school. And trust me, it wasn't by accident. Your ability to work hard is real. Your discipline is real, but the system those paychecks flow through, that's a whole different conversation. Because while you were busy following the rules, someone else was quietly rewriting them. And that someone has been taking a cut of everything you've ever earned. And the worst part? Nobody around you is talking about it. Your parents followed the same script. Your teachers taught it. Your boss lived it. Generation after generation, the same cycle repeats. And anyone who questions it gets labeled lazy, ungrateful, or unrealistic. But what if the most rebellious thing you could do right now isn't to work harder? It's to finally ask why the system works the way it does. The Joker in control. Character in this story that almost nobody sees. He doesn't show up in your paycheck. He doesn't knock on your door. But every single time you get paid, he's already taken his cut before you even touch it. This character goes by different names: the government, the central bank, the system. But what he does has just one name: inflation. Think of it like this. Imagine you've got a whole pizza. Then somebody quietly slices a piece off, puts the box back together, and hands it to you like nothing happened. You only notice when you sit down to eat. That's exactly what's happening to your money every single month, silently, legally, without asking your permission. There's a system more sophisticated than outright theft. It doesn't need to take your money directly. It just needs to make your money worth less, slowly, every day, without you noticing. And here's the part that'll really get under your skin. It's official. Every single year, the government sets an inflation target. In other words, an official plan to devalue your money. They announce it, plan it, and execute it. And it doesn't stop there. While your money shrinks, the government uses that same mechanism to fund spending you never approved. In the United States, the national debt has blown past $34 trillion. A number so absurd, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. To put it in perspective, if you spent $1 every single second, it would take you over 1,000,000 years to pay it off. And who foots the bill? not the government. It comes straight out of the purchasing power of your salary, your savings, your future. And the most dangerous part? It's all completely legal. There's no robbery, no crime scene, no villain in handcuffs. The system was built this way, designed, approved, and protected by the very institutions that were supposed to serve you. That's what makes it so hard to fight. You can't sue inflation. You can't vote it out. It just keeps running quietly in the background every single day of your life. The poverty machine. In 1971, Richard Nixon made a decision that changed the financial lives of every person on the planet, and almost nobody knows about it. He cut the dollar loose from gold. Before that move, every dollar printed had to be backed by real gold reserves. After it, the government gained the power to print money without limit. No backing, no ceiling, no brakes. And that power has never been handed back. So what happens when you just keep printing? Here's a simple way to think about it. Picture an auction with 100 people, each holding $100. Suddenly, everyone gets handed an extra $200. The products didn't change, but the money in the room tripled. What happens to prices? They go up. That's exactly what the central bank does when it floods the economy with new money. More dollars, same goods, less purchasing power for you. During the pandemic, the US government injected trillions of dollars into the economy in just a few months. The result? The highest inflation in 40 years. Families who had spent a lifetime saving watched their purchasing power melt away right before their eyes. Milton Friedman had warned about this decades earlier. Inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. Too much money printing always ends the same way, and the people who pay the price are never the ones who hit the button. Mises argued that government is the only institution capable of turning something valuable into worthless, completely within the law. History backs him up. In Weimar, Germany, people burned banknotes to heat their homes. It was cheaper than firewood. Venezuela repeated the same mistake. Inflation hit 1,000,000%. Shelves went empty. Same script, different country. And in both cases, the government swore it was in control. And this isn't ancient history. Right now, as you watch this, governments around the world are running deficits they can never repay. The only tool left in their arsenal? Print more, borrow more, kick the can down the road. Singapore, Switzerland, Hong Kong, the countries that kept government spending in check built some of the strongest economies on earth. The ones that didn't? You already know how those stories end. The invisible tax. You've paid income tax, property tax, sales tax. But there's one tax that never shows up on your return, never gets itemized on a receipt, and still gets collected from everyone, every single month, no exceptions. That tax is inflation. And unlike all the others, you never voted on it. Margaret Thatcher's England in the 1980s is a perfect case study. The country was suffocating under double-digit inflation, strikes, and economic stagnation. Thatcher cut government spending, took on the unions, and returned economic freedom to the market. Within a few years, inflation dropped, the economy grew, and Britain could breathe again. The formula was straightforward: less government, more freedom. Hayek had mapped out this exact mechanism decades before Thatcher put it into practice. He argued that when the government controls money, it controls everything: prices, wages, choices. Inflation isn't a natural phenomenon like rain or wind. It's a political decision. It's the state choosing to fund its spending out of your pocket, without asking, without warning, and without giving you anything back. Inflation is the most unfair tax there is. It doesn't care about your income, your effort, or your planning. And it hits the hardest at the bottom. People with real assets, property, businesses, investments can protect themselves. But when you're living paycheck to paycheck, there's nothing left to save. Everything goes to consumption, and every month that basket of goods costs a little more. The groceries get pricier, the rent goes up, The utility bill stings harder. The less you have, the more you pay. Here's the cruel irony. The people who try hardest to do the right thing get punished the most. You save diligently, you budget carefully, you sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. But every dollar sitting in that savings account is quietly losing value while you sleep. The system doesn't reward discipline. It rewards those who understand the rules well enough to play a completely different game. A way out. What if there was a form of money that no government could print? An asset that no central bank controls, that no inflation target can erode, and that doesn't need any authority's permission to exist? That's not a philosophical question. That solution already exists. And it was born as a direct response to everything you've learned up to this point. In 2008, at the peak of the worst financial crisis since 1929, someone published a document that would change the history of money forever. No name, no face, no bank behind it. Just an idea, a decentralized financial system outside government control where nobody can create money out of thin air. That document was called the Bitcoin White Paper. And the world has never been the same since. History shows that every time a people lost control of their money, they lost their freedom along with it. Germany, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Argentina, different countries, different eras, same script. The state prints, the people get poorer. And by the time people finally realize what's happening, it's already too late to push back. The question isn't whether this can happen to you. The question is when and what you're going to do before it does. Mises said the first step to breaking free from an oppressive system is understanding it. You've done that. You now know how inflation works, who benefits from it, and who foots the bill. Bitcoin isn't a lucky investment. It isn't speculation. It's the most direct answer humanity has ever created to one question. How do you protect the fruit of your labor from a system that was designed to make you poorer? Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. That's it. Forever. No government can change that. No central bank can print more. No politician can inflate it away. For the first time in human history, ordinary people have access to a form of money that plays by rules nobody can rewrite. That's not a trend. That's not speculation. That's a fundamental shift in the way the world stores value. You made it this far because something in this story hit home. Because deep down, you already felt like the game was rigged. You just couldn't put it into words. Now you can. Inflation isn't an accident. It's government policy. And your money is losing value right now as you watch this. So let me ask you something. How many more years are you going to keep following a script that was designed to keep you standing still? When was the last time your income actually outpaced your expenses? Are you building real wealth, or are you on a treadmill, running faster every year just to stay in the same place? But knowing about Bitcoin is just the beginning. Most people have heard the name. Very few understand what it actually represents. And even fewer know how to use it as a real tool for financial freedom. There's a difference between owning Bitcoin and understanding Bitcoin. And that difference could be worth everything in the years ahead. In the next video, we're going deeper. We're going to break down exactly how Bitcoin works, why it was built the way it was, and how ordinary people are already using it to step outside a system that was never designed to work in their favor. This isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about understanding the most important financial innovation of our lifetime before the window closes. Financial freedom doesn't start with an investment. It starts with a decision. The decision to understand the system before you blindly trust it. Bitcoin, real assets, libertarian financial education. These tools exist. But they only work for people who choose to wake up. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, because what's coming next is going to change the way you see your money forever. Beyond the system. Question everything. Own your future.